Bad words make them curse a lot. Are you sure you're gonna cause a curse tonight? Bad words and the way your skirts are tight. Shit makes me nervous like
I guess Never Forever started as an idea, as I wanted to do the continuation of After Dark. It didn't exactly turn out as planned, I guess it never really does. Every single time is different. And, I guess the best way to describe it is to go back. And to go back would be to go look at Nocturnal. And it's actually really similar to Nocturnal in a lot of senses because, Nocturnal was a name before a concept. I created Nocturnal there's 3 different versions, honestly. But so many just countless songs. And at the end of the day, it's just a title, right? And then all that really matters is the songs that come beneath it. And so Nocturnal in itself started as the title, and then there was the scrapped version that was completely different, and then the finalized version. And the reason that Never Forever is similar to Nocturnal is because it was like having a name before content is difficult because it's like you needed to match the content. And you liked the name, but you needed to match the content. And so Nocturnal in itself took time to get it to where I thought it should be, and that the subject matter and everything was fitting. And so Never Forever was the same way. And Never Forever, since it was going to be the continuation of After Dark, which is the continuation of Nocturnal, it started as Till Dawn, because in my head goes Nocturnal, After Dark, Till Dawn. But I was running into the same problems in the sense that like none of the songs were fitting to the energy and the idea and the concept and topics that I had in my head for what Till Dawn should be. And so it fell apart. The Window EP was also Till Dawn. And then that didn't sound right. And then somewhere along the lines that turned into Window. And usually projects are easier like that. And that's how After Dark came about. When I was creating After Dark, it was like I just created enough songs and then they fit together. And I was like, okay, the biggest topics here are like life and death and the afterlife and the wonder of what living is and what comes next. And so, but also with the same theme of like you feel more relaxed and more ready to make music, alone and creative and just in that safe space. After Dark. But also After Dark was what happens after the lights go off, after you die and shit. And so that's what After Dark was. It was after and dark. Dark was kind of like the living, after is kind of after, Yeah. So with Never Forever, I started building these songs, and I knew I wanted to do something that was a little bit more country, a little bit more alternative, a little bit more in the realm of things that I haven't done before. And Nocturnal was a little bit like that too, but yeah, I just wanted to push that alternative side, and also push my freestyling ability, because freestyles are what I did with the Dead Sea. And the Dead Sea was just a makeup of songs that were from the Black Sea, that were freestyles that didn't fit on the Black Sea, part 1 or part 2, and it didn't really feel like a part 3 because it felt like a lesser. And that's just because my freestyling ability wasn't as good as my written ability. And so, but I liked, working at that skill and getting it better and better. And so with Never and Forever, a lot of these verses are freestyled. A lot of these hooks are freestyled. And, you know, I might go back in and fix it up later, but it starts as a freestyle, and then I perfect the take more so. This is a demo. You're gonna hear it because it's rough as fuck and quiet. First take. What should I do in this part? And what I didn't know is I can't get out of this. And I know there's no, how could I know? And I didn't know I can't get out of this. Stuck in the sun of, and I didn't know that I can't get out of this. Stuck in the thought of what could have been. Something like that. I didn't know that I can't get out of this. Stuck in the thought of what could have been. I'm feeling no, I got my rope, my friend. I'm feeling dumb, I tore my suit again. Moment to shine, I always lose again. Lost in my mind, I call you my girlfriend. Looking for signs, I find I lost again. I'm Gemini, I might let out the twin. Falling apart, missing spark that I thought we had. I'm not an Oxford, I got a heart of that. You got the ox, you play me soft as that. Why can't you fall when you know that I'm under that? Some of them are just the raw first take, if it just felt authentic in the moment. And so, yeah. But Never, mostly, was completely freestyled. Still Young was freestyled. All those songs were freestyled for the most part. They just, you know, you fine-tune them a little bit. And they're still raw. You know, it's not great quality. It's still me. It's still Nomatic. It's still completely me. Somebody who doesn't exactly know what they're doing, but likes to get their thoughts out and likes to just try, you know? I'm not an engineer. I'm not really that much of a musician. I just share my thoughts. I put them in time capsules. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I try to be as artistic as I can with who I am and share it for the world, my legacy, you know. While creating it, I realized that it kind of was sounding like two different, well, I was creating Till Dawn, and I was like, it kind of sounds like two different projects here, in a way. They're similar, but different. And I was like, well, I could create a companion album with two different projects and have them intertwine. And I tried to do that. I kind of did that with After Dark, except the tracks didn't intertwine. It was like two halves. But I was like, I could call one of these Never and one of these Forever. And then I can combine them into Never Forever. And it would interlace like track after track. Never track 1, Forever track 1, Never track 2, Forever track 2. And then it would be like 2 different listening experiences. If you just listen to Never, it sounds one way. If you just listen to Forever, it sounds another way. If you listen to Never Forever, just a more full body of work, and you're like, oh, like the songs still transition well, whether you listen to them with Never or Forever, or if you listen to them as a whole, they still transition well. That was important to me, is making it just kind of flow. And so that's kind of how it went. And when I was creating, I think the oldest song on the record, one of the first songs was Still Young. Another one of the first songs was Heavy Rain. Another one of the first songs was Spotlight. So those 3 songs kind of were like the originals, and then it just kind of kept building. I felt like the song Spotlight, or in brackets L2D, Live to Die, it sounded the most like After Dark to me. And so I was like, I could build on this kind of sound, and then that can be the continuation of After Dark, and that'll be Till Dawn. But then none of the other songs really sound like that song. But I was like, I still like it, so it still has a touch of it in there. And I still want to work on Till Dawn, and maybe Till Dawn will become my best next project. Who knows? But I just know that if I try to push something too hard, I'm my own worst critic, so like, it's not going to come out unless I'm satisfied. But if I push myself too hard, I'll over frustrate myself. And so it's not like I'm going to release it and then like I'll be oblivious to like the fact that nothing's connecting. But it'll just be like, it won't come together. And so you have to keep it as simplistic and just put it on autopilot, and just whatever you create. And like, that's the easiest way to do it. But sometimes you have a vision that just won't go away, and you're like, that has to be it. And you just don't know the time frame. You don't know if it's going to be in a few years, in a couple weeks, in a day. You don't know. You just have to keep making shit until something comes together. And what I've found is like, in doing that, I end up creating other projects along the way, because so many songs don't fit in one thing, and then that becomes a whole other project. And I'm like, it's not that it's any better or worse. It's not any worse. It's just, it's its own thing that's separate, and that's how like Elixir came together. I made that all most of it within a couple days or a week. And, yeah, but I let it sit for a while. I released it as Project V1 on my YouTube, just to let it sit, because I knew I was like, I'm taking a break for a while. I'm going to let this sit, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to re-edit it, mix it, all the actual hard work, and it'll slowly come together. But I had to do that. Like, you have to take those gaps and those breaks when needed, because it's like, if you're pushing yourself too hard and it's not natural, it's just going to be obvious. I have so many, like in 2021, I was going for quantity over quality, when that's never been my goal. But I was trying to be consistent, because I thought maybe that would help me gain exposure from people seeing the hard work. But the problem is, if you end up creating lesser quality projects and doing that just to be consistent, it's like, yeah, you'll gain people's attention, but first impressions are everything. And so there's people that seen some of my shittier work from 2021, and that was their first impression, and then they just never came back. And so I realized not to do that. And then, because when I released Synatics and when I released Nocturnal, there was gaps of time in between, and like, I was ready to drop them, and people came and checked them out and gave them the time of day. When I released After Dark, which came naturally, and I didn't force it, but I put the most effort. I think it's still my favorite project. I got like 3 views on every song, and no one came and checked it out. And I was like so excited, because I was like, this is the next chapter. It's better than everything. It's more deep. It's more real. It's more poetic. It's got a little bit of everything. And like, I didn't get any views on it. And I was like, that's frustrating as an artist, because you're like, this is better than the songs that have views. This is better than the songs that people said they liked or thought had potential. But they're not coming back, and I'm not finding new people. And it's like, I think it was partially because I pushed so many other things that it clouded the air, no pun intended, to the point that it didn't get the recognition it deserved. And so that frustrated me. But I didn't quit, obviously, because it's like, this is just a passion. The whole point is that even if it gets no views, I just want something that lives longer than me. That speaks my honesty of that place and time, because we all keep changing, we all keep evolving. Even if you've changed, you can't deny that that was you then. And you know, there's projects of mine that I don't really like, but I'm not going to delete them, because it feels like that was me at a certain point, and there might be somebody out there that is at that point right now, you know? And so they can listen to that and relate, and they might not relate to the point in the music I'm making now, but they'll relate to that. So it's like, you know, you just kind of have to trust all versions of yourself, you know? Because people aren't necessarily going back unless they're inspired or they're just very curious people. But those type of people that would go back and listen to your old demos and stuff like that, those are the type of people that understand that already, that it's not your best work. It's not. And that's why I divide everything. I divide everything. You know, there's mixtapes, there's EPs, there's albums, and there's demos. Yeah, I could just easily call them all albums, or yeah, I could just call them all mixtapes, or yeah, you know, because it's like, what even is that classification? But to me, it's so people know that if they want to check out my best work, they check out my albums. If they want to check out my smaller versions of my best work, you check out my EPs. If you want to check out just more of that, but maybe like just a more experimental, creative way, you check out my mixtapes. You know, just in a lesser, more experimental way, just to see what else is out there. It's just an extra, it's a bonus, you know. And then the demos are on top of that. That's shit that shouldn't even probably be shared, but they're time capsules, so I just kind of want to have them out there. There's parts, though, of Never Forever that are very rawer than what's on After Dark. That they pretty much just sound like demos. But to me, music, at least at this point, what I find beautiful in music is the authenticity and like the character and the emotion and stuff like that. Like, I'm a person that likes, like, I enjoyed listening through the home recordings of like Kurt Cobain, because I'm not stupid. I know it's not a commercial album, like, but I enjoyed listening to the way that like he thought of things and like his mind, like, you know, it's a bonus feature, you know. And that's why I was like, I don't know if Never Forever should be the 4th album, because it's not that high of quality. But then I'm like, but that's me. I'm all over the place. I don't stick to one sound. I like the idea of there being raw recordings and better quality stuff all together. You know, as long as it's cohesive and as long as like there's a general theme. And what I would say is the general theme of Never Forever is to be interpreted. But there's never and then there's forever. Never, forever. And they're both, like, if you look at Never, it's the picture of the town I grew up in and things that'll just kind of never be the same, you know. We used to sit outside of that Tim Hortons and talk about when I was creating my first songs, and like me and some friends and stuff, and like we would listen to them there in the parking lot while we drink coffee and stuff and like chill and smoke a joint. And now it's closed down, it's all boarded up, and that area looks completely different. And then down the road is the hospital that was a picture of like before they completely demolished it. That was the elevator that was still left standing. The old hospital that I was born at. And it's gone now. It's like that picture is like just a small period of time. You know, it never lasts. And forever is like, it's me driving down the highway, and it's like forever to keep moving forward, you know? And like never forever as a whole talks about heartbreak. It talks about depression. It talks about a lot of things that are on a lot of my projects, but it follows the theme of love. And it's kind of about realizing that even love is never supposed to last forever, and like nothing is supposed to last forever. And so forever, never, you know? And that's just the truth I've kind of realized. You know, some things are just meant to be enjoyed for a little while. Some things are meant to just be a time and place to get you from one thing and then on to the next. And like the theme of love kind of shows that. It's like at first, the beginning of the project, it's like realizing that love went the wrong way and then being unsatisfied with that. And then as it goes on, it leads more into deep heartbreak, emotions, and the feelings that you feel with that, and the wish you would, and the sadness, regret, and what I want that I don't have, all of that. And then towards the end of the project, it's like more so the realization that, you know, I have everything I need, you know, and that I don't need anybody. I can do everything myself. I've done all this music myself. I've learned art by myself. I've been teaching myself how to paint and draw. I've taught myself how to mix music. Like, I don't really need anybody, but it's nice to have people, and you learn things from people. And that's what thank you is about also, is it's like, I don't want to blame you anymore, as in anybody who's hurt me or anybody who's I've held things against, who've wronged me in some way. I don't want to blame them. I want to thank them, because they've made me someone that someone can relate to, because we've all gone through that. And they've given me the mindset with my creative, whatever, however I became this way. They've given me things to like speak about and take darkness and turn it into light and be creative with. And so, you know, if you balance everything, and everything does come down to balance, it's like there is a positive in everything. And it's like, so what's the positive and the negative of someone doing wrong to me? I can talk about it. I can turn it into a song. I can turn it into a painting. I can do whatever I want with it, and hopefully, not hopefully, but like maybe make them realize in the process what they've done, for better or for worse, without just getting mad back, or like without killing fire with fire, you know. Like, I'd rather let the art speak, you know, because I think that would win. Always. Because no one's going to remember what they did, but they will remember what I did, as long as it's in an art form. And so, never forever.
Don't stop, won't stop for nothing. No one will get my heart jumping, I won't get deported. Morning, today's not before this. Got hope, it's lost in my head, right? Love that, but that was just last night. I'm mad, but more sad, I know, right? You're sassy, you like the song, right? Don't cry, I've been there for something. I've been up to something to nothing. I've been down to nothing to something. I've been right with nowhere I have been. So I don't wanna blame you. No, I kinda Hey, hey.